Hello. So, if you don't know, the 2024 Paris Olympics, the Summer Olympics, is going on right now, and eventing just wrapped up. Now, of course, this wouldn't be sports without some controversy. So, we're going to talk today about the Ros Canter from Team Great Britain, her flag penalty. We're going to look at the video of what she did. We're going to look at compared videos to other people jumping the same thing that also knocked flags. Now, I will say the video we have is not the best angle, but I did also find a video of her jumping it head on. We're also going to look at the exact rule, like what the FEI rule says, because I want this to be a place where we can actually talk about it. Let's look at all the data, all the facts, and then see where our opinions lie. And then at the end of this video, we'll look at, okay, so now that we know this, and this is whether or not we feel like she should have gotten that 15-point penalty. Now, slight overview. If you're jumping on cross country and you knock a flag, that's not a big deal. But if you knock the flag and your horse is deemed not to have jumped over the fence from any of their body parts, not making it over the fence. Now, we're going to read the exact rule. They talk about head, shoulders, and hind end. So body parts. If the body parts don't make it between the flag, if the horse's body parts don't, because I am an eventer, the number of flags I have taken out with my foot, my knee, it's kind of a sport in and of itself. One time I knocked a flag and then it got caught in my horse's tail and it followed us for a little bit. So, flags are a thing and they are meant to fall down because they're not meant to be like buildings. You don't want to run into them and have them be a solid object. You want them to be able to fall. Now, with that being said, that's why this is controversial, because since it's not a definitive, it's a shades of gray rule. So that's where everybody's having these different conversations. And ultimately, the reason this conversation is so important is because there was a gold medal on the line. In the Olympics, it's about winning medals. And they still won with the flag penalty, so was it really on the line? Hey, that part's up for debate. We're not going to talk in the shades of gray. But the reality is that gold medal was on the line. So let's get into it. All right, guys, so we are going to look at the flag rule first. We're going to look at what FEI says about the flag rule, how you either qualify or disqualify from getting the flag penalty, and how they describe what it should be. So the missing flag penalty is 15 points. And just so you know, all the articles that I reference in this video are going to be linked down below. This article is by Chronicle of the Horse. So it says a horse is considered to have missed a flag when the point of a shoulder fails to pass between the extremities of the obstacle as flagged. So a horse is considered to have missed a flag when the point of a shoulder fails to pass. So basically, how I interpret that is that the shoulder has to go between the flags. And that's honestly how most flags fall down, at least in my experience, is the human and the horse jump the fence and the human knocks down the flag, right? There's also situations where the horse knocks down the flag, but I think that's why this rule was put into place. So really what it's saying is if the horse's shoulder goes through the flag, which the human's leg is behind the horse's shoulder, then what that's saying is that the horse jumped the fence and the human knocked the flag. Like it's kind of a process of elimination kind of a thing. And it also says, the head and neck must pass inside the extremities of the obstacle as flagged. If a flag is dislodged, the hindquarters must jump the height of the solid part of the obstacle. So that's important because it's saying, okay, head and neck must pass inside the extremities of the obstacle as flagged. So if the flag is dislodged, meaning that whether the horse or the human knocks the flag, then the butt has to go over the actual jump. So they wouldn't be able to swing around to the outside, or they wouldn't be able to just jump part of the fence. They have to jump, it's a good faith effort. They have to jump over the fence. So now that we know what we're looking for, let's go and look at the actual Ros Canter video. And I have a view from the side and from the front. And then what we'll also do is I actually have videos of other people jumping the same fence, and we'll look at whether or not they also got penalized or not. All right, so there is this article by the Mail Online. Again, everything's linked below. And of course, this is going to have a news spin to it. So this is, of course, going to make, this whole thing is controversial. However, since they did not lose the gold medal, ultimately, this is just a healthy debate at this point. It's not up for outrage. It's just, all right, let's figure this out so that next time somebody isn't falsely penalized, if that's what really happened. So still to be determined. All right, revealed controversial ruling that nearly cost Team Great Britain their first gold medal in Paris after Olympic chiefs reject appeal in eventing, but Ros Canter and company bounce back to finish on top of the podium. Okay, controversial. They secured gold. The margin could have been greater heading into the final discipline, close behind in second place. And so one of the conspiracy theories is, of course, that the reason they didn't take the flag penalty off is they wanted to keep everything close. They wanted to keep them within, a rail or two. They had no further room for error, and the combination in question was 21 A, B, C, D. And a lot of people knocked the D element, and we're going to look at that in a little bit. So here's pictures of her jumping the fence. Okay, well, so here's a head-on picture of her jumping that fence. Now, this is obviously before she knocked the flag. So, when you look at it, though, even though her knee is headed toward the flag, the horse is clearly, a little crooked, but in the middle of those flags. Horses are big. You can't really hide them like that. Okay, pictures and stuff, that's fun. And like I said, linked below if you want to look at this a little further. Fans took to social media, rejecting the appeal. They were aggrieved, disappointed. Why was Ros Canter given a penalty when you can clearly see the horse clears the fence and her knee knocks over the flag? The front view, taking the jump, which caused her the penalty. How on earth did the judges decide that she didn't clear it? Because this looks pretty nailed clear to me. I think Ros can feel very aggrieved. And honestly, there is a point to this where she could have finished higher in the standings personally. I know she won the gold medal, but she could have finished higher in the standings personally if this penalty wasn't upheld. So here is the picture, and social media is going to social media. Now, this is something that I found really interesting. So let's watch this. Okay, so this is her. Let's watch that again. So this is her jumping the fence from head on. Now, if you remember what the rule said, okay, if the head and neck goes through the fence, which we can see that, so here we go. Head and neck. So head and neck is through the fence. Shoulder is over the fence. But then how they determined if the flag rules should be penalized is if the haunches doesn't jump the fence at the width of the jump, which it is very clear because his haunches are actually pointed toward the red flag, not even the white flag. His haunches are pointed the other direction. So that's a very interesting view. And we're also going to watch some other people jump the same thing. Now, we don't have that same head-on view, but based on this video and what we know of the flag rule, it seems as though the horse really did head, shoulders over the fence. She knocked the flag, and then the horse's haunches did in fact go over the width of the fence. So very interesting. Again, very interesting. But let's also look at a few other people jumping the same thing. Now, I don't have this view for everybody. This is social media doing its homework, right? That's the one thing that if you go on to social media and you just spew out random facts, people are going to fact check you on that. And I think that people need to be a little better because there are more tools now for your average Joe, let's say, to fact check you on stuff. So the Olympic Committee may want to take notice of that. Actually, FEI and all of this in general. So that's the video. But so frustrated. Olympic judge. Funny so this is the conspiracy, right? Funny how that moves the French team that much closer to the British. I've seen the photo, the horse's shoulders were inside the flag. I mean, we watched that video in slow-mo twice and we paused it. the horse's shoulders are clearly in the flags. Like, there was a solid effort to jump that fence. There was zero skirting around, and the determining factor on the rule itself is what the haunches do. So based on the head and shoulders, okay, yeah, she knocked the flag, so that's where the conversation is. But the haunches are really what determines whether or not the horse actually jumped. And that is quite clear from the video, not even just the head, shoulders, conversation. Oh, wow. One thing that's interesting about this article is it says the penalty, however, effectively ended Canter's hopes of securing an individual medal with British Star, now in 23rd in the individual event. Now, I am totally curious what she would have ended up in. So everything, all the cards fall as they may, but they take the penalty off. I wonder where she would have ended up, because that is the true controversy. All right, so we looked at the flag roll. We looked at the video of Ros Canter actually jumping that fence. Now we're going to look at everybody that dropped a flag that they showed on the broadcast, and we're going to look at, we're not viewing it from the best angle. Honestly, the view head on is exactly how they should assess these jumping efforts and how they should assess if somebody deserves a flag penalty or not. However, since the broadcast did not show the head on, we only have from the side, but we can look at, just generalize, like, if we think that any of these horses didn't put in an effort to jump the fence. And we can also look, because they do post the official results. They post the official detailed cross-country results, where they show whether or not they penalized anyone with flags. So we're going to look at these individual athletes jumping this combination, and look at if they penalized anybody else with the flag. So first up is Ros. So as we saw from the head-on view, we've watched this video we've watched this jump a couple of times, and this is just to lay the groundwork for the folks that we're going to watch after this. But I'm also going to pull up. Okay, so these are the detailed cross-country results. So as you can see, this is every single fence all the way to the end. There are 2 rows here per each competitor, and here is Ros 57, and that was 21D, and that's her missed flag penalty. So as we go through these guys, we're going to look and see if they also did or did not get a missed flag penalty. All right, number 12. So clearly from Japan. 12. Where are we at? Okay. And I really don't want to butcher anybody's name. So the Japanese Kachijima. So as we can see, though, Kachijima did not get the same missing flag penalty on D. And, to me, from, just a raw eye, I couldn't really see. Obviously, we're not looking at it from the best angle. We really aren't. But from watching Ros and watching him, I couldn't really tell a difference. But at any point, if you think that you disagree with anything, let me know down below. Let's look at the next person now. Who we got? We got somebody from France. And flag goes down. All right. 15, France. Oh, he was my favorite. I'm going to do more videos on the Olympics because obviously 1st through 3rd gets awarded for team and individual, but I have some of my own awards that I want to give out, like best reaction, best save. I have lots. Who jumped it best? Like, we're going to have some fun with these guys. But as you can see, for the purposes of this video, 15, he did not get a flag penalty either. Now, when we go 1, 2, 3, we'll rewatch everybody again, all in a fluid movement. Right now, we're jumping back and forth to see if anybody else got a flag penalty. But to be honest with you, watching each person who did miss a flag, they all seem to have, it's very clear there's a solid effort for jumping over this fence. And none of these horses look like they're not trying to jump it. And this is just to compare and contrast. All right, who's next? I think this is Donkers. All right, big effort there. It was 16. So we went through Donkers. So we went through that was literally like 12, 15, 16, where those flag people were really earning their keep right there. But Donker, she also wasn't given a flag penalty. Although I will say that where she took off from, she looked like she was actually jumping it a little bit this way, and because she took off a little far away. But A for effort on terms of getting her horse over the fence. All right, who's next? 24. Benitez, Spain. He did have a missed flag penalty, but on 21A, not 21D. So that's interesting. I think that's BCD of that combination, so we didn't see A. But what's interesting about that is that of everybody, Donkers and Benitez look like they're actually coming, like they look like they overshot the turn a little bit, and they're actually coming back at it, and that's what caused them to knock the flag, versus the first three look like they cut the turn and they knocked the flag because when they were jumping they took the flag out like in their turn, versus the last two look like they overshot the turn and they were coming back at the flag, and that's how they knocked it down. So kind of interesting. We still only have the one flag penalty though for Ros of all the people we have watched so far. I think there's one more. And Italy. Oh. All right. Well, this was Flag City. I wonder if she got any penalties. I believe she was 37. 37. Italy. Bertoli. Oh. So, she was knocking. She like broke one of those flags. So it was Flag City, and this person Bertoli from Italy did not get any flag penalties. So this is really interesting. So now we have watched 6 different people jump this combination, and they've all had flags for totally different reasons. Only Ros was the one who was actually penalized for any of her flag activity. But I kind of want to watch that last one again, because she was like knocking flags left and right. Now, not that people should just be penalized for knocking flags. Like I said, I knock flags all the time. But it's kind of like, well, why are you holding Ros's feet to the fire when there's clearly other people who are also knocking flags, and how closely did you review everybody? And I think that the reason they were so closely reviewing Ros was because Team Great Britain was in first place. And I did actually do some math, and I did realize that because she ended up 21st overall after the final day of jumping, and if you take off her 15-point penalty, she would have tied for 5th. And I know they have tie-breaking stuff, so she could have ended 5th, she could have ended 6th, I don't know. But that's a pretty significant jump, though, in the standings, to go from 21st to 5th. Like, even if you weren't going to win, even if you weren't going to get a medal, I think that the ability to say that you came in top 10 at the Olympics is something that people, and if she came in 5th over 6th, depending on the tiebreaker, to say I came in top 5 at the Olympics, like, I think that's something that should have been more taken into consideration. And like I said, the conspiracy theorists out there are saying that, France wanted a shot, right? They wanted to be closer, and that was the only thing that they could, hang on to. Is it here? The ground jury is made up of a few different people from a few different countries, one even from the United States. So I don't think that it was a bias. I think that, unfortunately, we probably just need a better way to assess these flag penalties, and when inquiries are made, maybe have a better inquiry process, and have everything reviewed after all the cross country is done. But when everything is reviewed, I think that everything should be reviewed, because, like I said, not that everybody should have been given flag penalties, that's not what I'm saying, but at the end of the day, we've watched a few people hit flags, and the only reason that Ros was deep dove into was because they posted an inquiry about the flag versus, are they double checking every single one of these? And I'm not on this committee. I don't know. It's just a question. All right, so again, let's just watch everybody once more. Okay, Ros, here we go. It's hard to watch that and say, oh, the horse didn't put in a good faith effort to jump the fence. And honestly, like, that looked cookie cutter, the exact same ride from, different pair. See, now hang on, let me pause for a second. Now, the difference I would say between the first two rides and that ride was when you watch that horse take off, he really did, you could tell that the other two were cutting the turn versus that horse, like, went straight up and then came down on the flag. So it's just, to me, visually looks a little different. Yeah. See, and that looked like an outside shot. Like, she got there a little long and on the outside and had to just launch. Yeah, that looked very similar, except a more forward version of it. See, okay. Now this is very interesting, right? Because this person did not get any flags, not 2 flags though, in the process. And I would say that horse is putting in a good faith effort to jump the center of this jump. Definitely just, the flag was a casualty. But again, when you look at it all side by 6 sides, it's hard to sit there and go, oh yeah, well, Ros's ride was way different than all these other rides. Like, honestly, they all looked the same, and they all looked like that was a really incredibly difficult turn. In addition to the fact that when you watch that combination ride all day, that was the part that was the slipperiest. I guess it did rain, and so, in dressage, we were watching everybody just get dumped on, and I was watching horses slip in that turn, and I was watching horses slip after the turn. And so when that news came back to the clubhouse, my guess is people were riding it a little bit differently to not slip, they were riding it on the inside or on the outside specifically because that middle road had shown to be really slippery, and the only way to not slip, because everybody has to ride the same fences, is you take like a little bit of an outside turn or a little bit of an inside turn to mitigate being where everybody else is jumping from. But honestly, watching all of those riders ride, and kudos to everybody riding at the Olympics. Great job. This video is just for analysis purposes and to bring up a healthy discussion about, this whole flag penalty and whether or not it truly was fair. And to Ros, that would have been the difference between individual 5th or 6th place. They would have done a tiebreaker probably, or 21st, where she did end up. So it's kind of sad when you think about it that way, right? Like, the person who really gets penalized is Ros. She did win her gold medal and all that, but the person who really has to suffer for this is Ros. And was the flag penalty fair? Now, I cannot wait to hear what you guys have to say about this down in the comments. Obviously, please keep it respectful. There's we can have a healthy conversation with this, whether you agree or disagree. From what I've seen on, articles and social media, sounds like most people think that the flag penalty on her was BS. But, if at any point you actually do go, oh no, like, she totally deserved the flag penalty, then, you can say that just respectfully. So if you do disagree, can't wait to read about it later. This has been fun. Stay tuned for more analysis videos on the Olympics, but then also some fun ones like best outfit, best in show, my favorite horse, and we'll do like a who jumped it best. So see you on the next one.